Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What is up, and welcome to another episode of the Voice of the Black and Gold, your go-to podcast for all things LAFC. And guys, we have a lot to cover here today. Not only do I have our friends Tony and Andrew here, we have a friend of ours new to the show, but not new to the game, that's coming into LAFC, Mr. Joel Kim right here. Guys, we're going to bring him on because we know quite a bit about the Premier League, about what we believe that we think Sonny is all about. But Joel is going to know more about Sonny than any of us because that's what he does. He follows the Korean leagues. He knows all about it. If you don't know anything about those leagues, make sure you go check this man out. He has all the information that you want. His tweets are absolutely fantastic. Make sure you check all his content out. We'll get all that information at the end of this for you guys. Joel, what's up, man? Thank you for being here with us at the Voices of the Black and Gold.
Yeah, man, it's an absolute pleasure and honor to join you guys on this podcast, and excited to kick it and start talking Sonny and LAFC. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, so Tony, Andrew, big game, right? We get our debut with Mr. Sonny over here, and it was pretty interesting, right, guys? Like, we've seen a lot of celebrity or a lot of bigger name DPs come through, the likes of the Gareth Bells, the Giorgio Chiellinis, the Giroux, but we've never had a signing go straight into it. It was 2 days that he had landed, and then boom, he's on the pitch. And this is what I thought was pretty interesting. The team is talking about it. Other teams are talking about how they can't believe that he's already on there, but he wanted to be integrated right in. He didn't want to sit around and wait. And we have Hollingshead that talked a little bit about it. So let me share this, and we're going to have the conversation real quick.
For the club, huge signing for the city of LA. Couldn't have gotten a better footballer, but also a better person. He came in, just a couple of days ago and was just watching his phone, counting down to see if he could get his visa in time to come on this trip. And, a lot of these DP players, they come in and they're like, I'll play when I'm ready, or I'll play when it's time. And he was just immediately pushing to get here, to get on the trip, to be with the guys. Like you've seen the videos that have come out there. He's going all around LA for the last 5 days. The guy hasn't slept. He hasn't eaten. He's done. He's just getting, because the city's so excited, right? They're already asking him to throw out the first pitch. They're already asking him to throw the jump ball for the NBA. Like, they want him doing everything already. And then he still is trying to come on this trip, be a part of the team, be a part of the minutes, and it shows that the club goes after not only good footballers, but good people that want to help this club become the best. So
I thought that was interesting, right? He made sure he said that he was literally looking at the clock saying, I want in, Andrew. I want in. And this is so different from the others. And I'm not bagging on the Gareth Bells or even the Giorgio Chiellinis, because we've seen him come in fired up ready. But Sonny, he didn't want to wait. He wanted to get right in there. And he did. First game that he could, flew to Chicago and played in an away game, Andrew.
Yeah, I love it. In addition to just showing up on Tuesday, let's remember his last game was Sunday. His last game with Tottenham Hotspurs was on Sunday. He flew to LA on Tuesday, came to the game on Tuesday, had his press conference like 2 days later, and then he's on the field for us. That's everything that you could ask for out of the kind of investment that we made. It was so over the top to see him and what they brought to the last 30 minutes of the game. I couldn't be happier with how it started.
Tony, I mean, again, we talk about having leadership and people and guys that show that they want to be here for the Babs. They want to be here for the colors. And Sonny has given us everything that we asked for. It isn't a wait situation for him. It's a now.
Yeah, and that shows a lot about Son and the type of leader that he is and the type of player that he is. And not just that, the type of human that he is, the human being that he is, that he's a footballer. He knows what he's here to do. And he wants to step right onto the pitch and do it with his teammates. He's ready to go to war. He's ready to go to war for black and gold. So that says a lot about him. And I was really impressed how he got in and immediately started not so much barking directions, but giving leadership and telling Smolikov, like, hey, make this run right here. Bouanga, make that run right there. Telling Norda, like, hey, just a little talk that he's having with the teammates already, and only been with the team for 72 hours. That says a lot already.
Joel, this obviously isn't something new for you, but is this how he's always been? Is a guy that wants to jump in right away, doesn't wait? I mean, again, it's been 10 years him at the same club, but is that how it is for the national team where he literally gets off the plane and says, hey, put me in?
Absolutely. It didn't surprise me one bit to hear that response from Ryan when he was sharing about Sonny, because that's just who he's been over the past 10, 15 years. He's just been that player that always puts the team first. He's always been that player that carries the responsibility of the team, and he's just been that leader type figure where, the catalyst, the initiator. He doesn't just sit back. He makes things happen. And so that's just the kind of person he is. He's not here just to go to the beach and get a suntan. He's here so that he can push forward the club. He can make the sport bigger in America, and he can represent the club well and our country, Korea, well, as in addition. And so it doesn't surprise me one bit that Sonny had that kind of response. That's typical Sonny, and that's why he's so loved. That's why he's so revered. That's why he's so honored, and that's why he has such a loyal following, because that's just who the guy is. He's naturally just a really good human being. And if I could just add a cultural side to this, I think that's something that people are starting to notice, Asian footballers, because Asian footballers, they enter Europe with the perfect team attitude. They're not about individualistic, they're not about like promoting themselves. They're all about hard work. They're all about being a team player. They're all about respecting the coach and because a big part of Asian culture is just respect and hierarchical respect. It's not so much about speaking your mind as opposed to just listening to the coach and following the coach, and they have to learn to actually become more individualistic when they come to Europe. And so when you get a guy like Sonny, he's like the king of the Asians. He's a GOAT, so he brings all of those qualities on another level just because of who he is and his reputation. So no surprise at all. And it brings me joy, and I'm sure it brings the Sony fan base so much joy to see that you guys are actually seeing him for who he is, besides for the highlights you see on the pitch when he's scoring goals and creating assists. You're seeing the actual person that he is. And like I said, I just wrote recently on my account, like that's probably his greatest asset he brings to the team, just his leadership and his locker room presence and influence.
You know, I said this and I haven't ever told you, but again, I'm married to a Korean Portuguese woman. I understand that Korean side of the culture. I live here in Hawaii where we have a huge Asian community here, right? And that really is the respect thing and stuff like that is something I see on a daily basis here. But when it comes to footballers or someone as big as him, you do expect to have a little bit of that. That aura about them where they think that they can do whatever. And to see the way that he came in, it was real refreshing. Not just that, but for numerous reasons, right? They go to Chicago to play. Ryan Hollingshead also talks about he's really in his whole career, he really's never seen their stadiums filled out like that. This place was filled. We had over 19,000 fans show up there. That isn't a normal thing for an MLS team to be able to sell out over there in Chicago. It really doesn't happen, Andrew. And at the very beginning of the game, I remember writing in our chat and I said, hey, there isn't that many people there. But by the mid, it was full. And you felt the anticipation waiting for Sonny, Andrew. You felt it. When he got up at the 32nd minute and started warming up, people even you felt the energy change, Andrew. Like it's crazy. Like he was just warming up. We knew he wasn't coming in until after halftime, but the energy in that stadium changed. Everybody cheered for no reason, and they were trying to figure out why. And then boom, it's because he's up over there warming up, stretching, just sort of getting ready for what's going to be after halftime.
Yeah, it was insane to watch on TV. You could hear the fans, actually. I don't think I've ever seen a Chicago game like that ever. you know, for people feeling that, not that it shouldn't be. My wife's from Chicago. I wish the Fire would get a little bit more love, just not this last weekend. But when it actually came time for him to come on the field, like, everybody knew it was the oh shit moment for the Chicago Fire. It was the excitement for the fans in the stadium. It was everyone at home waiting and watching around the world for this to happen, and he showed up.
No, he 100% showed up. And this is what we've asked for. We've asked for some type of player like that, Tony. And for people in Chicago showing up 19,000 strong in Chicago, that isn't a place that we ever expected. It just shows you what he's going to bring for the rest of the season and what he is bringing to the eyes to MLS, Tony.
Yeah, and it's great for the city of Chicago because I remember I believe that their games are normally at Soldier Field, and this one was actually moved to SeatGeek Stadium, which is much better. It's a smaller stadium, more intimate. It actually looks better on TV, so that's great. And to have 19,000 when I believe they average 10 to 12,000 maybe a game, so that's pretty good. And we're gonna start seeing that little by little as he starts coming on more, playing more minutes. People are just going to go see him. It's going to be kind of, and I hate to use the comparison, Messi-esque type of frenzy where people are going to want to go see Son.
Facts. Well, Tony, you said something to me off camera. I don't want to steal your thunder of what you said, but say it on here so I can actually elaborate a little bit. You said that LAFC didn't just buy Sonny, we bought
a brand. We bought the brand of Son Heung-Min. We didn't just buy the footballer. We didn't buy the person. We bought this whole brand. It's all come together in one package, and it's not a bad thing. I think it's going to be a good thing for Los Angeles. It's going to be a good thing for MLS in general and for the sport of soccer here, especially with the World Cup coming next year.
And so, Joel, my question to you would be I agree with what Tony said, right? So, again, I said my wife is Portuguese Korean, right? And so she doesn't really care about soccer that much. I mentioned Son's coming over. First thing she did was pep up because she knows that he's a Korean player. And the reason I say that is because we're talking about the Messi effect. Son has that, right? He has that. People don't understand. Within the Asian community, that's what he brings. So especially when it comes to anything within the Korean community, they're going to say, hold on, we want to watch and know a little bit more about what is going on with him. So to Tony's point, LAFC had right at 400,000 subscribers. Now they have over 3.1 million. Just to give you an idea of how many new followers that they've gained just in that little time that Son has been here.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you get a taste of that when his first game, he comes in the second half at Chicago, an away game. And like you guys mentioned, it's Chicago. And granted, there is a Korean presence in Chicago. So it's good to see the Chi-Town Korean Americans represent there. But you could just feel the energy just rise in the scene. You could hear cheering, you could hear a roar starting to emanate from the crowd. And honestly, it was really, really, really cool to see, because again, this isn't LA. This is Chicago, and yet you could get a glimpse of the kind of drawing power that he has, and just his following. And honestly, it reminded me a lot, especially when he got on the pitch and started playing. And I'm sure we'll get into talking about that a little later. But every time he touched the ball, people were screaming, and it honestly reminded me of a Korean national team game, because that's how people react. Whenever he plays for the national team, that's the same sort of reaction you get. And so you guys are absolutely correct about the fact that when LAFC acquired Sonny, they did acquire a brand, and they were very smart and shrewd, acquiring a brand that fits like a glove over LA, the culture of LA, the people of LA. And I think Sonny himself was also, it was also very obvious to him, which is why he came over. And so, and one of the things that makes the brand so special, one of the reasons why it's such a powerful brand is because, again, of the person he is. Like, we're not getting a player who just flip-flopped between clubs for the past 10 years. He stayed at one club for 10 years. He poured his blood, his sweat, his tears, literally all three of them, into this club. And the loyalty that he's shown to this club, he's repaid back by a huge fan base all over the world that respects him for that. Like, he could have left the Spurs at the lowest, and he could have jumped on a better club somewhere where he can get farther, in his achievements. But he chose to stick with the Spurs. He chose to stay at the place for 10 years. And when he did leave after winning the Europa League trophy, wherever he went next, you can be darn sure that it's not just Koreans that are going to follow him. It's going to be Spurs fans. It's going to be fans from different clubs, just the world that follows him. And so in that sense, I'm not sure even I comprehended the magnitude of what LA was receiving when it got Sonny. But we saw a glimpse of that in the Chicago game, and I anticipate it's only going to grow with each passing game, especially as he gets more familiar and he does this thing on the pitch.
It's crazy. Like, when he's talking about this, I just got chills. You know what I mean? Because that's how excited I still am about this move. Because not only that, right? We know our coach is horrible and he's on his way out, but it makes it attractive for other coaches to say, you get to come over and coach Sonny. And then what other players, to the Messi effect that they've done over there in Miami, to be able to say, hey, because we know Rich made a little thing that said, who knows if that's the last Spur? It might not be the last Spur that comes over. So that option is there. And that is the type of player we got. That is the brand that we got at LAFC. And he's staying on point, guys. During his presser, I know I'm supposed to be talking about the game, but we have so much to talk about. During his presser, first thing he said was, LAFC was not my first choice. But I listened to John. And John told me things that made me excited about being here, made me excited about playing here and wanting to be better for this team and to show these young guys. And I honestly, that just touched my bones, guys. Like, when I tell you, it really, like, other people are like, oh, he didn't want to be here. I think that was him being honest. And that's what we're getting. We're getting an honest player. So to that, I want to share one more thing with you guys.
Yeah, it's finishing my debut, and it feels amazing and grateful that I have this opportunity, and obviously very disappointed not get a 3 points, but the fans were outstanding again, and can't wait for next game, and this guy's scoring goals for fun, so let's move on, and I hope that next week we can get a 3 points. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we have a lot to unpack on that, but what I want to start with first is he wasn't sugarcoating it. He was disappointed. In his regular press conference, Andrew, he mentioned disappointment 3 times. That's a total of 4 times of saying he's disappointed for not getting the points. That is what we need.
Yeah.
That is what we have asked for the last few years since Mr. Giorgio Chiellini has walked out of this club and became an ambassador for us, and now we're in part of the owner group. But that is what we asked for, Tony. That is what we asked for, Andrew, is an absolute leader. Someone who is going to be the general out there telling people what to do. And within his 20 minutes that he was on there, he was already directing the young kids, pointing, telling them where to go, Andrew. And this is what we have been missing.
It's a culture shift. It's a culture shift, and of course, us wanting more, like you hope there could be more sweeping effects from it, but just the presence of him alone, just even saying that, I can't tell you the last time our coach said he was disappointed with the tie. Like I honestly don't know if he's ever even said that. It's supposed to be positives when we lose too. At the end of the game, at the end of the day, we want to be winners, and to have that culture shift. It's not a complete shift. We have a winning culture here, but to kind of correct this and lead it in that kind of way is what we've been missing. To have someone speak on that and say it that way, it's a beautiful thing to see and hear.
I mean, Tony, we're talking about not even 72 hours. He's on the pitch for 20 minutes and is already letting them know it's not good enough. We've got to get these points. I am not settling for draws. I'm not settling for 1 point. We need all three.
Yeah, and when was the last time we had that on the field? I mean, Bouanga, I'm not sure. There's a language barrier. The other guys, we didn't get that from Giroud, not to throw shade at Giroud or anything. But we haven't had that type of, that we got to win mentality for quite a while since, like you said, Giorgio Chiellini, when he left after the 2023 season. So it's good. It's refreshing. It's finally a fresh start coming from a fan, especially us in general, how we've already did all the suffering and everything, where it's like, all right, cool. Like there's hope to this now. Like we're getting excited again. We're not dreading going, and we're not like, yeah, it was disappointing tie, but now we're excited to see what the future holds. Where before we look at a tie, we're like, damn, like we could have won that one, or we should have won that. Oh, Dolo out. I mean, still Dolo out, but now we're like, hey, we got Son. Let's see what we can do now.
Yeah, and I mean, look, like I say, Joel, everybody's saying if you know Sonny, you know he hates losing. And I mean, I get it. But for us here, we have not had this type of leadership since Vela left and then Giorgio Chiellini came in. And I'm sure you know who Giorgio Chiellini is. He was our general. He was the guy that held us down. When he left, we have not had a leader like that. And this is what we're hoping that we get. And we see it within the first 72 hours. Is this what we should expect until he leaves this club?
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why Spurs fans loved Sonny so much. This is one of the reasons why we want to build him a statue ultimately, which is awesome, which is crazy. I love it. It's because every time even before he was a captain, whenever he got interviewed during the losses, his face would look like death. Like he looked like someone died, like in his life. Like he would just take the loss with such gravity that really connected and really communicated to Spurs fans that, like, hey, listen, I take this so seriously. Like, this is not just a job for me. Like, I'm in this to make you happy. I'm in this to make you proud. I failed. Our team failed. And I'm shouldering that responsibility. And it's because of that sort of responsibility that he brought to the sport. Again, even before he was captain, that he was so loved and revered, and you're getting to see just a little glimpse of it. He came in the game. He was able to draw the penalty and tie the game. And even with the tie, he was like, oh, man, I'm disappointed, because in his heart, he wants to do more. In his heart, he's devoted his life to bring joy to people through football. And he takes that so seriously. And so that's just the kind of person who he is. And it's surprising to me, honestly. It's not like I follow LAFC very closely, nor any MLS team in the past. But I think it's surprising that even at a professional club, that kind of attitude wasn't present. And I would imagine it's very refreshing to see that kind of accountability, that kind of responsibility taken by someone who's just new, less than a week, old to the club, in a guy like Sonny.
Andrew, you have something you want to say to that?
I was gonna say it's a league thing more than it is a team thing. Just the way our playoffs structure is. Other peoples that have, or players that have come from European football have said, they just don't care about winning here.
Mm.
For better or for worse, it's some things that need to change. This league's evolving and growing all the time, but yes, it doesn't change the fact how refreshing it was to hear that interview for us.
No, it was very refreshing, and I loved everything about it. I had no problem with it. I love that he repeated it numerous times to make sure it didn't fall on deaf ears. I absolutely loved it, and it also showed like, yeah, look, I like being here, but I'm not okay with this. And I thought that that's what he was hammering in, and for me, it was very important because again, Tony, Andrew, and I, we always are asking about leadership. We are always asking about where the goals are coming. And you sort of seen the leadership. And I feel like I've seen where the goals are going to come. And we're going to get into that a little bit. But I thought this was funny. They'll have all the K-pop crowds in LA. Hey, man, look, I'm all about the K-dramas. And it was funny because when he was walking in, the first thing I thought was I was going to hear that it's a song that you always hear in any of the K-pop dramas at the very beginning when they start. This little like, and when he was walking, I was like, oh, yeah, they used to play that behind him because he literally looks like he could be in a K-pop drama walking through all snazzed up, ready to go, but all business, man. And I loved everything about it. He said, they said signing like this justifies my season tickets. And that's true. This is what we've talked about. Joel, you haven't paid attention to LAFC, and I understand why. But these guys that are on this show right here with me, Andrew and Tony, long-time season ticket holders, and we have been wondering, where is our money going and what are we paying for? You know, we're at these games, or they're at these games, and they feel like we have been shafted a little bit. The prices are going up, but yet we're not seeing the results. And now when you bring in someone for $27 million and he shows up, plays the first game out, shows leadership, I understand where he's coming from, Andrew. I mean, this is the type of signings that you've been asking for to say, this is where the money's going. I'm actually now okay paying this price. Let's start winning again how we used to, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's a small, intimate stadium. We're a tight-knit group within that stadium. We haven't even experienced Sun at home yet in front of the 3-2-5-2. And once everyone starts learning the chants, once everyone starts getting into it, seeing what the energy is in that stadium, like this is what it was about in 2018. This is who we were. So it was our identity. We were contenders. Not that we haven't won championships in this time, but it's that shift that I've been talking about. It totally justifies, the limited perks that there are for being a season ticket member. You know, a lot of us were losing money the last couple of years watching everybody nab up resale tickets on the cheap, and we were on the hook for a lot of that. And to see that reinvested, it reinvigorates you. Not that my passion ever left for that team, but it was just, or for this team, but you know, it feels great. It feels like that team when my wife and I looked at each other and we're like, I want to be here every week. Like, I want to be cheering for this team every week. I want to be jumping for LA Football Club. It's been a down year with Dolo announcing he's leaving, and what happened with Giroux and everything. It's nice. This is as good as it could have gone so far with the window still open.
I mean, Tony, this is very true, right? Like, when LAFC came into the league, it was very high. We had the Velas, we had the Diego Rossi's and everything. It was a reason to jump for LAFC, right? Like it was a reason. It was a reason to do call of arms and to look around and say how incredible this is. But the last year and a half, and then especially as Andrew said, with Dolo saying, hey, I'm going to leave at the very beginning of the season, we just knew this was going to be shit. So for us to get Sonny, and then to have now this passion pull back into the club, it just feels like there's a newfound life to it in a way. Even with all the down that we have about Dolo, there's so much more positives with what we've seen and what we're feeling right now this last week, Tony.
Yeah, and then to Andrew's point, I mean, back in 2018, we were the new kid on the block. We were the exciting team to go to. I never had friends telling me left and right, oh, when are you going to take me to a game? When are you going to take me to a game? And it was just like I had a wait list of people who I had to bring. and then it died down for a bit, and it wasn't the same anymore. I mean, yeah, like Andrew said, people would just buy resale tickets for the low. They just wanted a ticket in. They didn't even care where you really sat at. You just get the cheapest ticket and get in there. And while the rest of us had to pay top dollar or whatever we paid, because every single year since year one, the prices kept going up and up and up and up on the season tickets. So we're like, where is our money going? I mean, is it all going to Carlos Vela? Is it all going to Diego Rossi? Like, I'm pretty sure it's not, especially when you have a 22,000 seat stadium, and then you have about, I believe it was 15,000 of those being season ticket members. So that's like about 80% of that stadium right there. So now that it died down, coming back then with Dolo leaving, announcing that he was leaving, Giroud leaving, and now we're getting Sonny. We're getting that. Okay, I think this is, and I'm gonna say it right now, this is step one of the rebirth of LAFC.
Yeah, I mean, rebirth after 8 years already, Joel. That sort of sounds crazy, but again, Sonny came into a club with a coach that said at the very beginning, before we even started, that he was going to leave at the end of the season. That's why we're all sort of down on Dolo and ready for him to go. He's a coach that says it's not all about winning. He's okay with getting 1 point and dropping 2. Like, this is the type of mentality. So again, hearing Sonny say, no, that's not okay. This is why we're emphasizing on the fact of, we have been so down on this coach when he's supposed to leave. Our thing is just go on and let him go, right? And so, does that surprise you, knowing that he chose a club with a coach on his way out already?
I wish I could say it surprises me, but again, that speaks to his character and who he is. You know, I didn't even know this stuff about you guys. I didn't know that Dolo was on his way out. I would have imagined that, you know, LAFC were doing well and they were primed and being set up to have a successful future, and Sonny was jumping on board this, you know, an already well-functioning apparatus of a team. But apparently that's not the case. From the way you guys talk about it, it's like a sinking ship, and Dolo's leaving. And so just to hear Sonny saying, you know what, I'm in, let's do this. I mean, that's just who he is. You know, he doesn't run from challenges. He doesn't just give up and seek the easy way out. And he's not a, you know, like the pastures over there are greener. He's not that kind of guy. This is a guy who's stuck with the Spurs at their lowest moment in 10 years. He's stuck with it, and God repaid him, you know, with a trophy at the end of the day. And that's the kind of guy that said, yes, I'm willing to take on this LAFC project, be part of the project, help lift the spirits of this community, represent Korean Americans here, represent my country here, and for all the other reasons. And actually, I appreciate you guys sharing all this stuff. It just makes me respect him all the more. I'm like, wow, Sonny, like, you knew all this stuff, and yet you still chose to come here. That's who he is. That's who he is in a nutshell.
So I'll tell you, John Thornton, on the other hand, has very high expectations of this club. And we are all huge John Thornton fans, which is our president, our you know, and he is a winner. He wants to be a winner. He's not okay with losing. He's not okay with 1 point. He is not okay. LAFC, we have done very well. I wouldn't say we're on a sinking ship really, but we have been for the last year and a half wondering what is going on with our coach. Because the first time that he made the comment about it's not all about winning, that was our first red flag. We're like, wait a second. And we're very big on during our derbies. We hold our derbies very, very high. It would almost be equivalent to a big tournament. We want to win the derby as much as we want to win big tournaments because we want those rights. We want to say we won that game. And we really want a manager that feels the same way. And when they don't, we sort of do push back a lot. Am I speaking out of turn, Andrew? Is this
no? I completely agree with you. You know, just chiming in terms of us signing Son, I'm not shocked that us as a team were able to attract him as talent. Well, I had said before he had signed, you know, I felt we would be a tough sell until you had a coach, until you had a vision. So, like, I would say that is more the shocking thing for us. You know, we're perennial contenders. We've only missed the playoffs once. We're in some kind of final every year. We have one of the best attackers in the league in Denis Bouanga. We have Son's old teammate and Hugo Lloris. We have a good team by MLS standards. It's something to be proud of. So I get why everything, including us as a team, was a good sell for Sonny here in Los Angeles.
And so we want this winning mentality that we've always had. That's the LAFC way. We're never going to go away from that. And us as fans, we're pretty hardcore about it. We want to win, and we want to win it all. We make it to a lot of finals, but we haven't won all the finals, and that's another thing that we as LAFC, like, we've won some, but we want to win as many as we can. And I think that's why when Sonny says the things that he says, it really, as I said, struck with me. It made me feel a certain type of way, right, Joel? It made me feel excited again, as Tony was saying. It makes us feel like we're actually in the running again, right? And then, at the end of Son's thing, when he's on the pitch, you see Denis come up and give him a hug behind, gentlemen. Yeah. And this is another talking point for me. And the reason it is because him and Giroud, you didn't really see that. You didn't see that link up. You heard on the broadcast them talk about how they have been shoulder to shoulder walking around trying to get to know each other better, and that just shows you the leadership that Sonny is coming in. He knows Denis is the one that's scoring. At the end of there, you hear him say, and this guy's scoring, and he's scoring just for fun, and he was okay with that. And that is what you want. You want them to want to play with one another. And look, it was already weird Denis didn't start the game. I didn't quite understand why he hadn't started the last two games. He comes on at the half. Okay, now we see him at the half, but where's Sonny? Let's get him in there. And then we finally, at the 35th minute, we finally get to see him come in. The energy changes. Denis is now looking for Sonny where he never really looked for Giroud. And you start seeing, you're like, yo, this might be a match in heaven, Tony. This might be something that we actually see a good partnership. And it started making me say, I don't want Denis to leave. I want him and Sonny to figure a way to work it out and play together, Tony.
Yeah, and I mean, we didn't see that with Giroud, really. I mean, maybe it's positioning. Who knows? We really don't know. I still don't blame Giroud for the lack of success that he had here. That falls on Solo out. Yeah, so when to have Sonny and Bouanga playing together, it's exciting. I feel maybe that's we were talking about selling points. That was probably a selling point for Bouanga to stay. Like, hey, don't leave. Look, we're gonna get you some backup. We're gonna take some pressure off you now. We're gonna take some of that weight that you have on your shoulders of carrying this team, and we're gonna distribute it evenly, or we'll distribute at least with someone else. You're gonna have someone up to par, or maybe if not even a little bit better than you, that can actually help you. And you see that now. Like, I noticed it within the 20, 25 minutes that both were on the pitch. Normally we would have 3 to 4 defenders all on Denis Bouanga. Now you couldn't. Now you had Son on the other side, and it's just like the defenders were already like, oh damn, like we can't guard Denis because then we have to leave Son alone. We can't leave Son alone because then we have Denis alone. So that's it's gonna be exciting. Let's see how it plays out.
No, we got to see how it plays out. Guys, I'm so far behind on these comments. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep up with them, but they're going crazy right now. People are writing in Korean, and I don't know how to speak Korean, so I don't really know what you're saying, and I'm not trying to be rude. I wish I could translate it for you, but I do not know what they're saying. But I'm loving the comments in the section. Thank you all for participating in this talk with us that we're having with Andrew, Tony, and Joel. But when we talk about partnerships, we know that Sonny that's something that he does. We've seen Harry Kane write a thing sort of saying to Sonny, we know that he just left a good mate of his. It seems this is what he does. He sort of takes that guy that he plays next to under his wing, and they just sort of become one in hand. And that's sort of what I would assume speaks to his character. Joel, what will that do for Denis? As he's already been our goal scorer, the main guy, but what does that do for him? You have this superstar coming in, as I said, $27 million. He's coming to be by your side. You would think that he's going to come in and be like, give me the ball. It's all about me, but it ain't. He's saying, We are doing this together. We are the team. I will pull them away from you so you can score. When they're going towards you, I'm here. Let this be a partnership, not just all focused on me.
Yeah, and that's just kind of player he's always been his entire career. He's never been the guy that's like, give me the ball. Like, he's always been the guy to want to draw the attention so that other people can score, which is why he's Tottenham's leader in assists, guys. Like, that's wild. Like, we think of him as like one of the world's greatest strikers, wingers to ever play in the Prem. And, underrated, he leads Tottenham history in assists in the Premier League, which is wild, which is crazy. But that's just so like with Sonny, I don't think people understand this enough about him. A lot of people just put him in pigeonhole in the box and say, oh, he's just a finisher, he's just a scorer, he's just a poaching goal scorer. No, he's a baller. Like, he plays ball. He plays every third of the pitch. He gives himself completely into the game. He's smart, he's cunning, he's just a baller straight up. And so it doesn't surprise me in any way to see that Sonny would want to start investing in some of these guys around him, especially Denis Bouanga, because like you guys are sharing, he was kind of like the main guy, I guess. But now with Sonny, you could see Denis as he came and gave him a hug from the back. I could look in his face; he was so thankful. He's like, "I'm not alone here." Like, there's a guy here that, and above all, it's a legend, a living legend like Sonny. Who still obviously we could see he's got game, and you could see that look of relief in his face, and you could tell like Sonny, like the attention that he's going to draw, he's going to give Bouanga so much more space, so much more freedom to play, and again, the kind of person that Sonny is, he's going to start feeding Bouanga. He's going to want Bouanga to score goals. Like he even said as Bouanga was passing by, he's like, this guy's going to score goals. And I think that's why the whole Harry Kane and Sonny partnership was historic for the Premier League, because these were two guys that were pretty unselfish. They kind of fed one another. And as they did so, they had the record of being the deadliest duo in Premier League history. And so I could see that happening with Denis Bouanga, this partnership forming. But I also want to say, like, Sonny, he just invests in everyone on the team. Like, Ange Postecoglou, when he chose Son Heung-Min to be the captain of the Tottenham Spurs, he said this. He said that Son Heung-Min, he transcends social circles. And so, when you go in a club, you'll see different people grouped together based on, their background, their interests, whatever. But Son Heung-Min, he's just weaving in and out of every single circle. Like, he just has a gift, an emotional intelligence to just really connect and meet people where they're at and really engender their trust and their loyalty and their respect, which is why even when he left Spurs, like, you could see all the platitudes coming from the players. And even the Spurs club, like, it's been a week now, they're still putting up stuff about Sonny, which is, again, speaks to the kind of person that he is. And so going off track a little bit, but yes, he's going to commit. He's going to invest in Bouanga. He's going to invest in the other guys. And I put up a clip recently where, during a break, he was like going around and just really encouraging people, challenging people. That's just who he is. And you can expect more of that as time passes and he builds more relationship with the team. Yeah.
Son is not a selfish player. No, he is not. And Andrew, exactly what Joel was saying. You've seen it in Bouanga's face, even like when he comes up and hugs. Sonny even was like to his point, he really was. He was sort of caught off and he sort of embraced it. It was such a special moment, bro. But it showed that leadership. It showed that he wants to involve these guys and let them understand that it's not just about him. It was everything that I've asked for. But how big of a deal is that for Denis Bouanga, though, Andrew?
I think it's huge. I think some people, when it comes to leadership, just don't have that commanding presence. I think Bouanga is a prolific goal scorer, but someone like Son, when he walks in a room, he commands a certain presence. It's what you see from leaders, and we haven't had that since Vela and Chiellini left. We haven't had that kind of presence around this team to infect this team in a positive way, and I think that's only going to benefit Bouanga. I don't think it's a negative thing in any aspect for Bouanga. I saw the potential in those last 30 minutes of what they can unlock with each other in this league and just be dynamic. Like, I don't know how you couldn't be excited. I had said in the chat earlier, but when the game ended, like, I hate that I'm starting to sound like Dolo for a minute and just say that I was excited about this tie because of what I saw. Hey, I actually had some hope at the end of that game watching watching how they played together, it was a big unknown. They both play on the left. Who's going to play centrally? Like, how is this going to work? And we saw this after 2 training sessions in an away game in Chicago where nobody could stay on their feet because the grass was so wet and humid there. Like what we saw once Smolyakov came in too on that wing, like it was just dynamic. It was dynamic, and it's only going to make everybody better. The mentality, the physicality, the goal scoring. I think it's going to be great for Bouanga. I can't wait to see what they create.
Tony, to Andrew's point, such a great segue right there because, we have the youngsters in, we have the Ordaz and the Martinez's, and yeah, they played well, and we're excited about these young guys. I'm a little upset with Ordaz still for that silly red card in Leagues Cup. Not going to lie to you. I definitely didn't want him playing that game. It is what it is. That's just a thing for me, right? I feel like he should have had some type of repercussions. He shouldn't be playing that game after such a stupid red. But it happened. We don't have a Denis Bouanga out there. We don't have a Sonny out there. But the energy changed during half, Tony. Then we have Bouanga out there. And even then, before Sonny came out there, I felt like Bouanga brought something. I felt like he even felt a little rejuvenated. Not sure why he hadn't been out there the last 2 games, but it is what it is, Tony. But you've seen as soon as he got on the pitch, he was trying to get involved. But when Sonny came in and when he knew it was, he was involved head forward. Like, bro, he was pushing so hard to try to link up with Sonny that it was almost just the perfect duo out there within 72 hours, Tony.
Yeah, keep in mind, I mean, Sonny hadn't trained with the team. He's seen probably video. He's probably seen the guys train. He hadn't linked up with them at all because he was waiting on his visa. So he was just doing individual training. So the fact that we got that little taste without any practice from them just shows you already what's to come. So it's exciting. I think Bouanga's gonna. I seen the comment that Bennett right here on the chat saying that it's gonna benefit Bouanga, and it really is. I think it's gonna benefit everyone as a whole, as a team, as a club, as a community here in Los Angeles. But overall, it's about the team, right? So I feel that he's gonna be that leader with the youngsters. He's gonna provide. He's gonna lead and assist this year. I saw your poll the other day if Sonny was gonna have over and under 8 goals.
Yes.
I did put under, but
I know you did.
We'll see how that goes. But
I can see what you vote.
Hey, you know me. I'll say the truth. So I'll just give you my honest opinion. We'll see. Like I always tell you, whether it's Son, now it's Son, whether it's Martinez, I want those players to shut me up, to prove me wrong. So Martinez was almost there. Then he had that stupid thing with the ref. That's another topic. So maybe he can get more than 8 goals, but we have 11 games left. He could probably do it.
Man, I wish I knew what this says because this looks like it has something good in there to say. Whatever it is, I'm leaving it up there for whomever to be able to read. Joel, I did say over and under on the 8 goals. The majority said over. I believe that it's going to be over. I honestly believe we came to find out we thought we only had 7 games. We actually had 12 games. Now it will be 11. So my poll was at the 12 game mark. Said after 12, with 12 games left, will Sonny have 8 over or under goals? I'm a over 8 guy. I think that we're going to see one game where he's going to get a brace or, something just, nuts like that. What do you think? Do you have him over and under on the 8? And chat, please hit me up on it. I want to see what all of you think, just so we can sort of rub it in Tony's face, because I know all of you are going to put over. So come on, chat, light it up with the over 8. But I am interested, Joe, because listen, you just got done telling us he also likes to do assists. So maybe I should ask that question. Is it going to be an over and under on the assists too? But we're going to stick with the goals right now. Is he going to have over and under on the 8?
And I think this actually segues to what we're going to talk about, his actual play. But I honestly, I was wondering how his play would translate on an MLS field, because recently with the Spurs, he just hasn't looked, like the Sonny that we know he was. He's been a step slower, and I think for whatever reasons he's been recovering from injuries, and so I was very curious to see, but seeing him play in those 30 minutes and seeing him pretty much have his way with the Chicago defense and just run behind lines and just outrun people. I think it's very, very much possible that he's gonna score over 8 goals in the remaining 11 games, and I hope he does. I really hope he has a field day here in the MLS. It's gonna be fun to watch him.
So as soon as he hits the field, guys, we get 3 chances at goal, and then we get a foul. Beautiful, absolute beautiful run. Foul all the way. I'm not sure why they had the ball go all the way back, a shot on our goal. Then as we're coming back, they finally call it, Andrew. It's something I actually hate about MLS, that they wait that long. Sonny is literally on the ground, has his hands up saying, what am I missing? Is this how it is at MLS? He even talks about in his interview, man, it was a lot of contact in this game. I was surprised that it's so much contact and they don't get any calls. But straight out the gate, I enjoy what I've seen. The pace got faster. His chances at goal, like, of course, 2 of them were not great chances at it. They were sort of soft in a way, but they were still on target. And then you started seeing, okay, I can link up here. That's my chance to run. And then that's when he draws that foul, Andrew.
Yeah, not to take away from Chris Brady, he had some pretty good saves in this game, and then that last shot that Son made just got blocked by the defender at the last minute. That there was a lot of potential in that shot, and in some of the other shots, it just didn't go our way this time. But what you saw from Son and his pace, it's. We don't have someone that quick. We got Martinez with the top end speed. We got Bouanga that can do both. And to be able to have that, it was actually kind of funny how that LAFC post where that they posted where it was the foul. They had like alluded to that it was like the goalpost, Lloris, and then somebody, and just completely skipped over Ordaz. And that was a beautiful pass by Ordaz to get it to Son in that position. And we haven't had that kind of offense to be able to run that in a long time. I do think it will be over 8 goals real quick, just because there's going to be a game where they open it up and everything clicks. And outside of Dolo ball and parking the bus, which I'm sorry, that there might be a possibility some new fans might have to learn, that it could really like swing it real quick in one game, just off the 30 minutes we saw without practice. Can you imagine what it's going to be like a full week of practice, come San Diego? 2 weeks of gelling together. I think we're set up great going into the playoffs with this. Outside of our midfield just completely regressing, which we might have to save for next week. But what this offense showed that it can bring game in and game out, we're absolutely in the running for being the best team come playoffs.
I mean, Tony, I'm listening to Andrew here, and we all said that we might not be making it to the playoffs, and we're worried about it. But now Andrew is saying, hey, we actually have a run at the cup. Now that he's seeing what we're seeing, he feels like we actually have a run. And I have to second that. I also feel like this is the type of excitement that this is the mentality. This is what feeds the locker room to say, we can do this. We want more. We are going to start winning to get back where we've been to make that run for the playoffs, Tony.
Yeah, and real quick, going back to the over-under, I'm going to say 5-5. 5 goals, 5 assists. That's what I'm giving Sonny. So,
5-5. I still like it. It's not bad.
5-5. Just because I'm pretty sure he's not going to play these next 2 games that much. I believe he's gonna. They're gonna knowing Dolo, he's gonna treat these games as practice for come San Diego. So we'll see when that gets here. But going back to your question, What was it again? Nick?
It was about him, about his speed and about hell. You threw me off with the 5.5. I'm not gonna lie to you, Tony. I'm not gonna lie. You sort of threw me off with the 5.5, bro. I had my question, everything. You know, it was 5.5. I mean, I don't hate 5.5.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. I mean, we're still getting 5 assists there. You know, me, I have him, but more. But I don't hate it.
Yeah, I still think they still need to gel together. I feel like I don't know. It's just the trauma with Dolo being Dolo, where we want him to play the guys that we want him to play. We've seen it with Cengiz Under. We've seen it with Olivier Giroud. We wanted him to play, and guess what they're doing? They're sitting on the bench. So I hope he doesn't do that same treatment with them with Sonny. So that's where that's coming from. But if not, then I feel like I said it these past few shows where I said, when was the last time we had a game where it's like 4 goals, 5 goals? I think we're going to get that soon. I think after they start gelling together, I don't know when was the last time 2 players from the same team have had hat tricks in the same game. I think Bouanga and Sonny can do it.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't hate that, Joe, at all. And you know, something that you said earlier is like his legs and he still has, you know, he isn't as fast as he was back in the day. But Andrew even said we see speed from him, and we have some speedy guys on our team, the young guys for sure. Denis has wheels, no doubt. I don't think we expect Sonny to keep up with that. But from what we've seen, he still looked like he had great legs, bro. Like the speed is still there. And I was quite impressed with what I was seeing when it came to the speed, especially the way he drew that foul. Like that was veteran. That was, again, I've repeated it 100 times. That was the leadership. But not only that, that was the speed that we look for our front 3 guys like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, it was almost like borderline shocking for the Sony fan base. Like I even saw a tweet.
Really?
I saw a tweet recently of a Spurs fan that was just like, you know, he saw a highlight. You know, he posted the highlight of, you know, him running past the defender and getting to the box and tackled. And he was like, where was his pace before? You know, for Spurs base, he's been struggling, you know, over the past year, and part of it is his function. He's employed as a touchline winger, so you don't really see him carving up the middle like that. But it was so vintage Sonny of when we knew him at his best, because that's what he would do. He would just burn defenders. And so it's been a while, even for me, just to see him move like that. And so I was kind of surprised and shocked to see him just juice it up the field like the way he did and just beat that defender so easily. And you know, I think honestly part of it is just this is an MLS defense. You know, it's a far cry from Premier League defense. So I think that helps. But it was really encouraging for me just to see Sonny play with such freedom and to do what he wants to do, wherever he is in that final third. That's not a freedom that we've seen recently from him in the Premier League, you know, at his age, and with the strategy that the team's employed. And so it was gratifying. It was awesome to see that. And it gets us excited. It gets us Sony fans excited because we're like, oh man, even in this short amount of time, he had so many opportunities. He could have scored, you know, like a hat trick, you know, like he could have scored at least a brace with the opportunities that he had. And so if that's the case, if this is his first game back, his first game with the team, and he's coming on, you know, making just a cameo, and you can just do this, like you guys said, with 1 week of training, what can he do? You know, getting that chemistry with the team, and you know, scouting defense ahead of time. As tough as MLS is, you know, they're not like the Premier League low blocks or anything. So I think Sonny's going to feast. I really think he's going to eat, and I hope he does. It's going to be exciting.
So what did you think about his first touches? Like, because again, we had 3 that were right there on it. I thought 2 of them were a little light. You could see he didn't get his foot really on it, is what I mean when I'm saying soft. They still were on target, but they weren't clean gets, right? Then he had one that was a good save. The guy saved the ball. You can't do nothing about it. But I thought they were good quality takes just to show, to your point, like, damn, not even 72 hours, not even a real practice, and I'm getting there. Did you feel confident about his first couple of touches?
Yes, absolutely. For me, at least, as soon as he got that ball the first time and he was dribbling between defenders, he just seemed to be moving at a different speed than the rest of the guys. And I'm just like, wait a minute, am I really seeing this right now? Because I'm not used to seeing him, you know, at least recently do that, you know, with Prem defenders, you know. But to see him and playing the MLS and moving at that speed, I was just like, oh, okay, okay, this guy is going to get his. He's going to move. He's going to have his way with this defense, and that's exactly what he showed. And the opportunities that came soon after that clearly demonstrate that. And so I did have my concerns, and a couple of the Sonny fan base as well responded to me saying like, oh, I don't know, Sonny, he's been very limited these days. We don't know how well he's going to do. And, I did have this lingering nagging worry that, oh man, like what if he's hampered, like in the MLS, at his age coming in this way. But it was, like I said, it was incredible just to see him break off the constraints that have been cramping his style with the Spurs and him playing in the role that he did. And even the limited moments that we saw him doing what we all know him to do: break down, penetrate defenses, create opportunities, and impress his will upon the game, which was fantastic to see.
Andrew, I know we're over a little bit, guys. I'm going to run over a little bit. If any of you have to leave, that's fine. I understand, but just a little bit. Andrew, were you surprised at the system that Dolo was having them play when Sonny did come in? It almost felt the old Dolo style in a way. You've seen that we are pressing a lot higher than we normally do. We weren't letting them get too deep. It almost felt as that Bob Bradley-esque in a way where they also were – the interchanging, but without where all the forwards were going through, the wingers were up high. Mm-hmm. It was the old school LAFC, and I'm assuming that's because Sonny is there and he's pushing forward. He don't want anything less, right? And so is he sort of forcing Dolo's hand to say, nope, I got to play like this. I got to play forward?
This is the kind of player that can do that, and this is the kind of player that is doing that. And I think – Dolo's stubbornness aside, I think he realized what's going on here is bigger than him being rigid in his tactics. I will give Dolo credit on the record is saying that, even though he didn't start Bouanga, letting Bouanga come on at half, letting Bouanga find his rhythm, his pace in the game, and let that game adapt before Son came in, I think that really kind of helped open things up. I feel it was a very smart move on his part versus just throwing them both on the field and going, all right, find it. I feel not that Son needs to be set up in a good position, but I feel there was some intention put into it, which a lot of the times with Dolo's moves, it'll be more about his tactics or more about what the game is to him than playing the player's strong suits. But like I said at the beginning of my rant, Son's a bigger player and he's bigger than what Dolo's last season is. And I don't think there would be anyone that would have Dolo's back in that building, including JT, to be like, hey, you know what, just do what you want with it. I feel that was a conversation it had to have been reassured, because that wasn't the team that we sit back and just go, what are they doing this game? Like we have the last 6 months. It felt good. We have amazing pieces in place now to make that happen. We have that ability to be fluid. We weren't going to see Giroud sprinting around. Even the people that were the most excited for Giroud knew he wasn't going to be sprinting down the field in the counter-attacking system. And everyone went, well, how's it going to fit? And it just didn't. And when Son came on, the questions we had before the game, the question pundits had, the people announcing the game going, hey, I wonder how this partnership's going to work. And it came in, and it's like they'd been doing it all year. And just a couple shots didn't go in.
I mean, Tony, that is true. Every time that they clicked over to the sideline, you seen Bouanga in his ear having that conversation. And again, he doesn't need to be coached up over there, but maybe he's over there just giving a little bit of insider, Then he goes in, sort of settles himself down, prepared for when Sonny comes in, and that energy that's going to come within and say, okay, now it's time to go. Here's the superstar. Let's show him what we can do and push forward, because it was night and day from the system that we've seen with the Girouds, with the Bells and everything, with Gareth Bell. When Sonny came in, it just felt different. It felt like we were back to the old days of our three switching around and moving and finding each other, Tony.
Yeah, and it was pretty refreshing. And like I said earlier, like it's a good, it gives that excitement back from when we had back in 2022. So yeah, you would see Bouanga and Sonny talk, and I guess maybe it's just to get a feel from it. And I mean, reminder that we played Chicago in preseason. Maybe something stuck, or maybe there was certain video that maybe Sonny didn't watch, or something that Bouanga just telling him, like you said, Sonny doesn't need to be coached up. He's a world class player. But it's good that they already start having that communication, that bond, because hey, they're going to be striking partners. Added with Ordaz and Martinez and Bobasi, hopefully. But so, I mean, let's just see how it goes. But I'm like I said, I'm excited and see how they can gel together.
Joe, us here at LAFC, Voice of the Black and Gold, again, we're all saying Dolo's going to leave and this really what's going to happen. But a lot of people, when they talked about bringing Sonny over, they were hoping that Ainge would be here. Yesterday really showed that Sonny wasn't out of shape or anything. Ainge's system just didn't fit him, so he couldn't play to his strength. And so that makes me ask you, is that how most people see Ainge when it comes to his and Sonny's relationship? Is this something that we as LAFC fans should not be hoping for, to have him come in and be the new manager?
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting question.
It's a real question, because a lot of us have been excited, and the majority of the fan base really does want him to come and be the manager. And especially that Sonny and him. I see you're stressing out a little bit about it, but most people thought that they just had a great relationship, and that's what they really want to happen here at LAFC.
Yeah, I had no doubts that they had a great, terrific relationship. I mean, Ange and Sonny, they go way back. They were competitors against each other in the AFC back in the day, in the AFC, championship. And so they had this deep love and connection. And Ange Postecoglou, let's not forget, he was the coach that got Sonny the trophy. At the end of the day, that's totally coveted, sought after trophy. And so in my heart, at least, and probably many fans, many level-headed fans, like, he's going to be one of our favorite coaches ever. Like, to me, Ange Postecoglou is going to be one of my favorite coaches after a guy named Goose Hiddink. And he was a guy who led the 2002 South Korea World Cup all the way to the semifinals. That's how much I love Ange Postecoglou. But with that said, yes, there remains a fierce debate, and there remains a lot of feelings against Ange Postecoglou as a coach in the ways that he employed Sonny, mainly as a touchline winger. And so under Postecoglou, we didn't get to see a lot of the spectacular Sonny goals that we are used to seeing from him, like the curlers, from outside the box, more towards inverted in the middle of the field. It was just Sonny dribbling on the outside, trying to beat his man, and either crossing it in for another circuit hit, or going 1v1, getting past the defender and going for the goal himself. That's not how he got these spectacular goals that we remember him for from past coaches like Conte or Pochettino or other coaches. And so a huge remnant of the Korean fan base actually were, they were pretty, like, a lot of us were devastated when Spurs fired Ange, because we felt like, hey, this guy got you guys a trophy. Like, he didn't deserve this. But a huge segment of the Korean fan base was actually pretty happy. Like, they were just like, all right, he's gone. Good. Because they just didn't like seeing Sonny limited in that kind of style and that kind of system. And so with the possibility of him coming here, I would imagine that these fans would be like, no, please don't bring Ange here. For me, I'm tugged between two sides, because I love the guy. I love what he did for Sonny. I thought he was a fantastic motivator, communicator. I do see the points about the system, and I could see it. So I don't know what to feel about that. But that's how the Korean fan base feels about Ange. He's not necessarily the most popular coach in regards to leveraging and maximizing Sonny's strengths. Although we are grateful that he is a coach that Sonny got his first trophy on.
Ooh, man. See, Andrew, this is why we bring in someone that knows.
Yeah.
And look, I was one of them people who was like, oh, it sounds great. He got him a trophy. This is what it is. But hearing the backstory, we don't want anyone to be handcuffed. We've been handcuffed for the last 2 years, Andrew. So How does that make you feel hearing that?
This was a great question for you to be here for, Joel, because before we had signed Sonny, a lot of people were like, oh, we can bring his own coach. Like, we have that pull. And a lot of people wanted him here. But then the second we signed Sonny, and I started interacting with a lot of the Tottenham fans and Sonny fans specifically, and I've seen all over X the last week is everyone was just so happy to like see him out of that system, and they were like, "Oh, Sonny's smiling again. He's not with that awful coach anymore." And it was like, wow, you know, this is all something for us. I've maintained that I don't think Andrea will come to here. I wouldn't like him, but like it's just so interesting to hear from this perspective of it now. The last 7 days of fans been being like, nope, we don't want him. Whatever that smile we saw on the field, like we want that. So yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, Tony. I mean, when I hear that in a way, I'm sorry. It's just the LAFC guy in me. It makes me think of Carlos Vela. It makes me think of Carlos Vela when Dolo came in, and you just seen that he just slowly disappeared from the club, and it just wasn't the same. And that's what I'm hearing when Joel's talking about, like, thank you for bringing us these trophies. We appreciate it, but we want that smile. Ooh. We need that leader. We need those curlers for Vela, that beautiful left foot. Like, that's what I'm hearing. Is that what we want to bring into this club when we've had this disaster with Dolo?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what we don't want. We don't want another superstar, you know, slowly dying out, and then, you know, like they say, you either die a hero or live long to become the villain. We don't want that. And I think Vela, that's why he left before he became a villain here under Dolo, where Son under Angie, to be honest, I wasn't too informed with Angie and the relationship that he had with Son. Yeah, so this is all new to me, and Joe, thanks for that, for you know, bringing light to that for us. And it just makes me feel a lot better, and Nick is gonna hate me, that this gives Peter Vermees more of a chance to go as a head coach. Joe, if you get a chance, look at Peter Vermees. He is gonna be our next head coach.
No, he isn't. No, he isn't.
You don't have to do that.
No, he's not. No, do not pull up Peter Vermees, Joel. Do not. You want to pull up Jim Curtin. He's going to be our next, and Sonny is going to absolutely love him because all he wants to do is attack, and he wants to get the front guys involved in a lot and press forward. He's going to be fantastic for Sonny. He's going to have way over 8 goals and way over 8 assists. He is going to be everything that you guys want him to be, and the smile is going to be big. Peter Vermees is not the guy. I am out here on this show, but I stick to my guns, Joel. I'm not letting it happen. It cannot happen because we want to play exciting football, exciting soccer, and anything that that Jim Curtin does is exciting when it comes to soccer, and that's what we need. We don't need someone to make us sit back. We don't want to park the bus, and we want to play fun, attractive ball. And that's what we're going to get. And it doesn't sound like Ainge was the guy that did that either. And so, again, Joe, I appreciate you bringing light to that, because when people do fight me on that now, I'm going to say, pull up my buddy. He'll tell you all the reasons why. I'm going to say straight to you. I'm going to put you right in that tweet there, bud. Guys, I know we're over, and I appreciate all of you guys being here. This show has been absolutely fantastic. We didn't get to talk enough about all the stuff that we needed to talk about. We are 15 minutes over what we normally do. Joel, thank you for being here with us at the Voice of the Black and Gold, man. I hope that this is a place that you can start calling home. Come and visit whenever you want. Drop any type of information like you just did on us, and the open door, man, open invitation anytime that you want to come. Tony, Andrew, guys, thank y'all for being here with me. The chat has absolutely been fantastic. I was not able to keep up with it whatsoever. I tried, but it was just going way too fast, and so a lot of the comments got lost. Joel, let everybody know where they can find you, though, man, because I absolutely love your content.
You can find me on Twitter. I have a YouTube site, but I don't really operate it. Twitter is just another. It's enough for me. It's KNT football. I don't just cover Sonny. I cover all national team players, prospects, as well as transfer news. So y'all can find me there and link up with me there. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for having me on. It was an honor, and I absolutely love. I've been loving just connecting with the LAFC fan base, and I also connected with Will from MLS Moves recently as well. And you know what? I love this because you guys are fellow Americans with me. A lot of times when I go on shows, it's with British clubs and fan bases, and this is the first time I'm actually interacting with fellow Americans, and I would love to see soccer culture, football culture grow here in America, and I love how we can do this together. So thank you guys for having me on.
No, man, I'm first of all, I'm glad that you're on. And I remember when you and I started writing, first thing it said, come into our chat. Come into the chat, get to know other fellow supporters. Because he told me right away, he goes, he's there. I am now an LAFC guy. And I thought that was great. And this is the type of relationship that we're building around, right? It's not just he's in New Jersey. He does all of the Korean national team, but he doesn't follow MLS. So what's the best way? You come into our chat. You come and chat with us. I hooked him up with Will. And, you know, it's a thing where we can expand this together and learn together. You have information that we don't have, just like a minute ago. And so it's quality information that I feel like we need. And so I thank you for that. And thank you for being here with us, man, for real. I think after some of the games, Joel and I are going to jump on, talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on. And then Monday, us boys will come in and break it down. And I'll be able to throw a little bit of extra knowledge that I pick up from Mr. Joel right there, things that I might not have known. So this is going to be really fun for us to be able to do. But at the end of the day, guys, LA still black and gold. I appreciate all of you guys being here. And, yeah, we got to go get that win come Saturday.
Come on, let's do it.
Big game Saturday. Another game that
East Coast debut for Sonny. East Coast debut. Excited.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and I believe that we'll see him come in. Hopefully, it's going to be a little bit sooner. I would like for it to come right after the halftime. But let's get a score prediction before we get out of here. Andrew, score prediction for the next game.
3-0.
3-0. Tony.
I was gonna say 3-0 too, but I'll switch it out. Give it one more 4-0.
4-0. Boy, I love where this is going. Joel, what you got?
Dude, I don't even know New England too well, but I will say I'll just be conservative. I'll say 3-1.
New England is horrible right now.
They are.
They're doing protests everywhere because they can't win games. They want their owners out. So
Okay.
Tony is looking good at 4-0.
Okay.
Just to be, I don't know, too much, I'm going to say 5-0 because, Tony, we have asked for a 5-goal game. We might actually get it. Let's say Bouanga gets a hat trick and Sonny comes in and gets 2. I'm with it. 5-0. No, he's going to get 2, and that's going to put me closer to my 8 over. Okay, and that's what we're going to roll with. LA still black and gold, baby. Let's go.
Solo out.
All right. Let's go.